Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning, and welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Pace, and here we are to fight CPS and hang on to your children. This is a daily podcast, twice a day. You found me on Facebook, Fighting CPS. I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. And I've been doing this for about a year, over a year. And I welcome you all that have a CPS case. The show times are typically at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time and 7 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time. But on the weekend, on Saturday, they're at 8 o'clock in the morning, so that Vincent's podcast gets all the attention it can. And on Sunday, I go to church, so I come on early at 8 o'clock. So Saturday and Sunday, I'm at 8 o'clock. And then right now, we're in high school football season, Friday Night Lights. And so on the Friday nights, I have a football game that I attend with my son. And they're in the playoffs now. And next Friday, I should be coming on at 4 o'clock, but I'll keep you abreast of the correct time. So I'll come on 2 hours early then. So I am glad that you found me. And I mentioned the word CPS, and I should define what that is. That is the Child Protection System. It's an entity that I call the Child Protection System. It's a government entity. It's an entity that's supposed to protect your children from neglect or abuse, and also supposed to help out a family in need of food, shelter, clothing, transportation, education, medical, and also to find a job. Furthermore, if they need to take your family apart because there have been children in extreme danger, they will do so. But they're supposed to do family reunification, which means that the biological parents are the best parents to raise a child. So whatever parenting classes or programs you need, they will help you get those done and get you back on track to get your family back together. But unfortunately, that's what CPS is, but that's not what they practice. And I'm talking about over the 600 some people I've talked to in all 50 states, include Washington, D.C., and of course around the world. I've talked to 15 countries. So this is a worldwide broadcast. So anybody that has the internet can see this podcast. And I welcome everybody with a CPS case. And every state or county or even around the world, they're called different acronyms. Sometimes Department of Children's Services, sometimes Child Protection Services, sometimes the cabinet, depending where they're at. So when I say CPS, I mean everywhere. Now, there's 4 ways you can interact with this podcast. One way is just by being in this room, and you can emojis and please check the review button and notification button to follow me. The second way to interact with this podcast is that you may want to text me a message. And you can text me a message about CPS. All I ask is you give me your first name, the city or the county your case was in, and then, of course, the state. Now, if you're from a country, please show the provinces, if you have provinces, along with the country name, and that'd be great. I appreciate that. Also, try to be complete with your case. Tell me as much as you can about your case so we understand and I can help you on that. Now, a third way to interact with this podcast is to be a guest on my podcast. To do so, you're going to send an email to my show producer. Her name is Grace, and she works really hard behind the scenes. And all you need to do is put in your email the day and the time, morning or evening, podcast, Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Wednesday, whatever. Send the email to her, and she in turn will write back to you, give you the link to StreamYard, and she'll tell you what you can do and not do on the podcast. Her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com, grace@vincentwdavis.com, and she can help you there. And you have that link, and you can get on there. Now, a fourth way to interact with this podcast is to call in. I have an office number here, 626-698-0990. And that is live. And you can talk to me during my show times. If you call me before my show times or after my show times, I cannot take the call. So the number is up. It'll stay up there. Now, there's another number there, 888-888-6582. That's the number of the office. And you can actually call and retain Mr. Davis with that number. Also, if you have other legal needs, you can retain an attorney in immigration or criminal or divorce or real estate or workman comp, any kind of medical, car accidents, things like that. So he has specialties at Vincent W. Davis Associates. Now, one thing is that if you are if you are a guest on my podcast where you talk live, or you call in, I put you on speakerphone, then what you can do is you will qualify, if you like, for a free 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis. As you heard in his video, he has 35 years background, and he's in the area of dependency, family, juvenile law. He has an expertise and know how to deal with juveniles and family and dependency law. And that's the area that you're in. And he has that 35 years experience. He's also a trial attorney, and he has fought CPS in civil suits, both in federal and state court, and won millions of dollars. So he's the real deal. So you can have that 15 minutes. You just let me know that you want it, and I'll get it set up with you. All I would need is your name, your email, and your phone number. And so that's another way to contact Mr. Davis. Excuse me 1 second. Okay. Okay. Another way to contact Mr. Davis is if you want longer than 15 minutes, you can have 30 minutes. I've arranged a special rate that you can talk to him for a private Zoom meeting consultation for 30 minutes for $60. It's at the bottom of my screen, scrolling across. You go to the website, And once you go to that website, use your credit card, reserve your time with him for 30 minutes, and it'll be $60, but he'll talk to you then. So there's many ways you can talk to a real dependency attorney, which you're in. This is the area of expertise, dependency law. Now, you're going to find that CPS isn't what it's supposed to be. Most of my cases have been people that have been low income or are going through troubles in life and have been taken advantage of by CPS. I too have been, taken advantage by CPS and fooled by them, and I've been fighting them for 15 years. I've been married for 42 years. I have 6 children, 3 older ones, 3 younger ones. I'm not an attorney, but I'm a family man with a lot of good advice, and I'd love to help you with you. It's really hard to be in the predicament you're in. I know that because I've been there too. So that is really hard for you to go through what you're going through. Now I've developed 5 rules to go by. I wish I'd used them because I probably would not have been involved in CPS. One of the first rules I've already mentioned is about getting an attorney. You need an attorney, and I know a lot of you are going to say, well, they gave me an attorney. They gave me a court-appointed attorney. Well, the bad side about a court-appointed attorney is that they're a beginning lawyer. They only have a background in criminal law. And this isn't a criminal matter. And on top of that, they're not going to fight for your case because they have a caseload of 30 or more clients. And so they're just going to go along with the flow, and your chance of getting your child back are almost nil, which is sad to say because you need help. You need this attorney. And I had to sell my home to get my attorney, and my attorney was Vincent Davis. And until I got him, I was getting nowhere with my case. They'll build you up and then shoot you down. They make false promises. They're not transparent. And you say, is all CPS like that? No, there are good CPS people. I imagine they're out there, 3 of them on my show. So they are out there. But the majority of the people, over 600 cases, 99% of them, said that there was false allegations made, and then they went ahead and took my children, and then they've been adopted, and now I don't have my children. My parents' rights are ended. That's wrong. That is totally wrong because, there have been people that, excuse me 1 second. There have been people that have called in and said they had problems. They had the problems with their with maybe a drug addiction or a bad parenting skill and stuff. But that can be corrected. There are parenting classes and programs that you can take. And they're going to try, CPS is going to try to find you mentally incompetent to take care of children. They're going to say something wrong with you. They're going to jump to conclusions. And if you have dysfunctional family or something like that, they're going to try to take advantage of that. So it's really important that that you try to do these 5 rules. One, I said, is get an attorney. 2 is you organize your paperwork into a notebook, and a very important document that you're going to have is going to be called a time log incident. What it is, you keep track of all the incidents because you're going to get so many of them, either with CPS, the social workers, or with the police, or the school, or even your children or family or friends, whatever. So what you need to do is you need to use 3 lines per incident. The first line is your date, time, location, who was involved in the incident. The second line is a summary of your incident. The third line is the outcome of your incident. And you skip a line and then you do the next incident, the next incident. 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, you'll be able to look back and remember it all with your notes. And again, you need to have subject tabs to divide all your notes and so forth. So it's important to have a 3-ring binder, very thick as you can, and you can do that. Now, my third rule is you want to say no to CPS or police. Don't talk to them. They're going to use everything you say against them. You need to have legal representation, and you need to be, careful what you say. And of course, they're going to want to take your children. They're going to ask to come in your home or take your children. Whatever you do, you do not allow them in your home. And you don't answer the door. You don't, the golden rule has always been taught. You do not answer your door unless you know the person is out there. You don't invite your home with strangers. Social workers and the police are strangers. You don't allow them in your home. And what they'll do is they'll search your home illegally. They got to have a search warrant. They got to have a warrant to do anything in your home. Your home is your castle. So I'm telling you, please, whatever you do, don't let them in your home. The thing is, if you see them outside, you can very nicely tell them hello and that you'd like to meet with them, but you need your lawyer present. You may not have one, but you don't need to tell them that. You just tell them you need to talk to your attorney and that you'll get together. Also, you want to meet at a public place, not your home, not the office. Try to meet at McDonald's or Starbucks. Public place you can record. And so it's very important you document everything you say because they will lie. They are very good liars and they don't care. You probably wonder, well, what kind of people are these? Well, these people are people that have learned that money is very important to them. CPS makes trillions of dollars on taking your children and putting them into foster care, which is a real bad organization there. Now, when I say bad and bad social work, bad, I don't imply that all of CPS or all of foster care is bad, but the majority of the people that I talk to, and that's over 600 some people, and my own case I can relate to because I've been involved in CPS, been fighting for 15 years. Now, you certainly don't want to give up your children. The only way they can get into your home if you give them permission. So that means you don't open the door and so forth. Now, they can if they have a warrant. And a lot of times they have fake warrants. So you got to make sure it's the real thing. They can ask with that warrant certain things of you, and you have to comply with it. You have to comply with that. But I find out that before they issue a warrant, before they have all that, to tell them that you have an attorney and that you will meet with them, discuss it or talk about it, but not at their office, not at your home, because they'll take your children. Because once they have your children, once they traffic your children, and traffic is illegal, but CPS gets away with it, they'll start collecting trillions of dollars from the state, who in turn gets it from the federal. The money is moved so easy from the federal to the state to the county. There's no board of directors or supervisors. There's no one watching the flow of money, no one tracking it, anything. It's a very loose ship. And, they've gone rogue. A lot of the agencies have gone rogue. And no matter what your state has, because all 50 states, I've had cases where it's all bad. It's sad. It really is sad. People, because of languages or other things, have their children taken away from them. And I know it's sad when a family's broken apart. I'm still repercussion from my family being broken apart. I lost a home. I lost my credit rating. I lost my second born. see, third born, fourth born. My fifth born child. I have 3 girls and 3 boys, one in the 40s, 2 in the 30s, 2 in the 20s, 1 in the teens. And it was really sad because it was retaliation that was taken from me. Social workers will retaliate. Oh boy, not doing well this morning. Yesterday was my birthday, and I'm 75 years old, forever young dinosaur. So I'm checking my phone messages, and the also my rule number 3 is you got to watch out medical trafficking. When you take your child to the urgent care, or you're going to have a baby at the hospital, lately they've been taking your child. Social workers are working at the hospital, and they hear something like you're refusing medication or for your child, or they're twisting something around. Like you may want to go to your pediatrician to further explore what's wrong with your child. It doesn't mean you're ignoring medical assistance to your child, but they will twist it and turn it and take your children. Do not give up your children at the hospital or urgent care. They got to have a warrant. So that's my rule number 3. Rule number 4 is to do your research. That's where I've learned a lot about your CPS case. All you do is you type in the city and the state. If you're outside the United States, it'd be the city and the province or the state there. But then you want to put the country code in. And what you're going to do is after that, you're going to type in the letters CPS. Now that will trigger in that particular location anything related to the child protection system. Then after that, say you want to see the policy and procedure manual, then you follow with that. Or let's say that you want to check of how to do an appeal, or how to file a 388, or what is ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act. There's lots of things you can find, and you guys spend, a good 60 hours with that. So that is important too. So that's my rule number 4. And rule number 5 is you collect all the important documents of your children, yourself, your family. Put them in an envelope or a folder so you have ready access to them. And what I mean by documents, I mean like your birth certificates of your children, your social security. Excuse me 1 second. I got to take another sip here. Your social security card, your children's school records, like the grades, any incidents, things like that. Your medical records, such as shot cards, any medical treatment or diagnostic thing like that. Your marriage certificate, your driver's license, your birth certificates. That way, you need to show it's very important that your family, if you're married, that your family members, if they're not by the same spouse, that you've adopted them so that they know that you have custody, because too many situations have come up where a couple is married. The mother maybe had a child or 2 with another person, and the father may have 2, and they come together and they have this family, but they forget to not only marry each other, they forget to adopt all the kids. Because if you don't have legal guardianship or adopt these kids, then you will have nothing to say so about your case, and that can ruin things. So it's really important that you do that. So it's important with the documents. So those are 5 important things that I wish I had known and wish I had used that would have helped my case. Now, there's a lot of directions we can go. I do have uh, a person that helps me out. Her name is Faye Manley from Richmond, Kentucky, and let's see if she's up and if she would like to help out with the podcast. I'm going to try to get a hold of her. Okay. Well, we're going to see if she's up. She lives in Richmond, Kentucky. She's a single mom, and she's been in and out of foster care for a good most of her young life through her teenage years. She's been raped, molested, and trafficked, and all the awful things happened. But she did get a high school degree and did get a college degree as a nurse. So let's see if I can get her.
Yes, hello. Yeah.
Well, I seem like I got her voicemail. Let me see. Sometimes I have to get her on another. Uh, um, anyway, she had two children, and sadly, one of her children was taken from her because she was in foster care. There's no rhyme or reason. She had to choose between a son that was special needs and a daughter, a beautiful daughter. And her daughter's 12 now, and she liked very much to see her, but she has been adopted by foster care with not by choice, not by choice. Okay, apparently she isn't available, which is okay. Understand that. Um, Now, there's lots of things we can talk about. Um, I love the people in the room. Let me see who just came in here. Uh, Thank you for the thumbs up. If you'd like to ask a question, feel free to do so. Okay. Well, I've contacted several other people. Think they like to join the podcast that's been on before. I've contacted Danielle out of Georgia, and I contacted Natalie out of West Hollywood, California. So we've had Kentucky there and so forth. Um, the reason why I like to have people here talking on the show, it helps the show a little bit with more flavor. I don't know if you hear me enough times, twice a day, 14 times a week after week, month after month, and now going after year after year. So it's important that we try to interact, and I can help you. I do want to help you on that matter. Now, one of the things that I've done, I've told you what a social worker is like. You know, there's these social workers I call the peak ladies. They were in uh, working in Prescott, Arizona. Now, what I mean by Prescott, Arizona is they worked at their agencies called the Department of Children's Services. And they had worked combined years of 25 years in social services. And there's 8 of them. They're all females. They're white. And they decided one day to buy pink t-shirts. And it wasn't because of breast cancer awareness. What they did, they bought these t-shirts and they um, decided to stencil on the front of them professional child kidnappers. Yes, you heard me right. They would now call themselves professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they put, parents, you know where your children are at. Now, that was very sad because the message was quite clear that they want your children. They didn't want to help out families. They didn't want to help out families. And so um, it was really sad. And and they not only got these T-shirts and wore them, but they wore them in Kmart, Walmart, Penny's, Sears, Best Buys, all these stores, and paraded around with the message. And you know what that sent to the parents? That was awful. Well, they were caught, and then they were fired. They were fired. Um, they, uh, were immediately fired. No question, nothing else. Along with the director, who's in charge. And it's kind of amazing that this director is in charge. That they would fire all these people. The only problem is it left the agency with only one worker, and that one worker was a male, and he had to handle all the phone calls that came in with allegations, and then he had to handle investigations and handle the caseloads. And so that department hurt for quite some time. And the children that were neglected or that were abused were not being protected. See, that's the sad part about it, is when you have individuals, social workers, that do one thing, they hurt the other part, which is to maintain, you know, safety with our children, you know, to handle neglect or, it's really sad. I don't know how else to put it. Um, but they really are. Uh, and that's the kind of attitude, I tell people that that's your attitude of social workers. And so and that's one example. Now, in my case, it was even worse than that. I had a social worker that took revenge on me and my wife. Um, what I mean by that is that uh, we had a case going, and her sister was trying to adopt our daughter, and we didn't want that to happen. We did not want that to happen. And sadly, uh, they were doing that, but we had an attorney by then. We had Vincent Davis, and he was asking the social worker what kind of parents these were. Were they good parents? Were they parents that would, uh, take good care of her daughter? Also, he asked, was there any domestic violence? And when that was asked, any domestic violence, um, the social worker quite uh, with a very straight looking face lied. She said they were great parents and there was no domestic violence. Well, Mr. Davis decided to, I mean, he did some investigation and he had a folder he pulled out of his briefcase of 30 incidents of domestic violence, but it was more than domestic violence, it was physical violence between the two, between my wife's sister and her husband. And of course, he started to read off each incident, and the social worker was so embarrassed she left the courtroom. And she told us parents that you'll never see your daughter again. And what she did was the worst thing that anybody can do. But she coached our daughter at 12, who didn't know any better, to divorce her mom and dad, her two brothers, her grandparents, both sets of grandparents, all the aunts and uncles and cousins. Emancipate. See, in California, you can emancipate at age 12. In other states, you can't. Like in Michigan, you cannot do that till you're 18. So it depends. You have to understand, CPS is not the same in every state, and even different in every county. I know that Orange County in my state or LA County, they're different. They're side by side. They're different. So it's really important that uh, research and know the difference. And so the social worker proceeded not only to, you know, tell her daughter to divorce, but also to change her name completely. The beautiful name that we'd given her, changed it completely, and seal her birth certificate so she get another birth certificate from her foster parents that said that she was the biological parent, which is wrong, and another social security card. So they're trying to take money from social security legally, and they're trying to say that they're the biological parents. All this is wrong. But my daughter did that, and there's nothing we could do to stop it. Nothing we could do to stop it. It was wrong. It was so bad. There's nothing wrong about that. Anyway, it was a hard thing to swallow, and that's what I'm trying to tell you about social workers. Social workers are corrupt. They're not afraid to do what they do. They're not afraid to do that. And um, so they went ahead and we lost her daughter. That's the hardest thing for a mother and father to do is lose one of your children. Um, I'm not saying that she's alive, but we don't have any interaction with her. So I want you all to be careful with this agency. There aren't as they plan to be. They aren't as they plan to be. Um, Good morning, Maureen, and welcome from New Zealand. Welcome from New Zealand. I'm so glad that you called in. Um, I was told something similar, and I was not allowed to see my daughter, a supervisor, intern student, and was able to uplift my child and make malicious lies to acquire care of my child. I understand that. And welcome, Christina. I haven't talked to you in a while. So glad to hear from you. And Angel Gone Wild, welcome to my room, Angel. Uh, yes, 6 years is too long. I agree, Angel. And you've been fighting your case for 6 years. Where about in the world are you from, Angel? Are you from the United States or from another country? We have Maureen from New Zealand. And I'm so glad to have New Zealand represented here. And I was told something similar, and I was not allowed to see my daughter. The supervisor and intern student was able to uplift my child and make malicious lies to acquire care of my child. And, good morning. I think it's the next day, Maureen, where you're at. Um, Christina Reynoso, you've been on before, and I have a question. Do you know what Vincent Davis might represent or consider a case from 40 some years ago? I have no idea. I can't believe if you have a case that's 40 years old, but I'm pretty sure he will talk. Christina, there are some simple ways to talk to Vincent Davis. And by calling in or being a guest on my podcast, you can talk to him for 15 minutes. I can set that up for free. And if you want to talk to him longer, I can have you talk to him for 60 minutes, for 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60. And I can set that up too, Christina. And of course, he's on Saturday mornings, Pacific Standard Time at 10 o'clock, where he does questions, answers. You can ask him there. But I don't know too much about CPS in New Zealand. I have talked to Australia on the Gold Coast at Sydney area, on the East Coast of Australia, in New South Wales, and I have talked to the Melbourne area on the South Coast in the Victoria, state of Victoria. I don't know. Do you have states, or is it just one country, New Zealand? Do you have states or provinces? And is the CPS the same everywhere in New Zealand? I don't know too much about, but I'd gladly help you out. I can look it up. The internet is a very valuable source. Let me check real quick here. Okay. They have it. Um, they have lots of information about child protection system in New Zealand. They have Orangan Takamaki, who's a minister for children, and we're dedicated to supporting any child in New Zealand whose well-being is at significant risk of harm now. But I don't know if they've been corrupt too. I don't know if they're how their finances in there. But I know that you have an ethnic group there that the Maoris that let me see here. Let me come back here. Maureen says 13 years it took this organization to give my daughter back. 13 years is a long time, Maureen. It's the same here. Good. Um, I'm from Hamilton, the Waikato area, where the rugby team of the Chiefs represents the wider area. I play rugby, so I'm a little familiar with the All Blacks and the New Zealand All Blacks. I've actually had a chance to play them one time in my youth, and that was quite an experience when they came to the USA. They've changed their name. Okay, all right. It used to be called the Child Youth and Services. Okay, and so what did they do? I mean, when CPS, what were you accused of? What were you accused of? And Christina, please, you know, um, uh, call in again at my number. It's up there on the screen, or be a guest on my podcast, and I can get you set up with Mr. Davis for 15 minutes for free. So anyway, I'm glad to have someone from another country that is found out about my podcast because I'm here to help. I really mean that. I really do help people. I'll go the extra mile. I've extended my podcast sometimes to talk to people. And I do this twice a day. So if we run out of time, I'm again available at 7 p.m. my time, Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. I know you're the next day, and um, you're about 6 hours behind me the next day, is how I always phrase it. I'm pretty sure you're on the same time as the Gold Coast in Australia. So, or Melbourne area. Maybe it's Melbourne. I'm trying to think of. I have friends. I have friends all through Australia. I've unfortunately never been to New Zealand. I wish I had. I've been to Australia about 25 times. Well, actually, technically 75 times because I've been to the Gold Coast 25 times, the Bells Beach, Melbourne area 25 times, and the Margaret River. They're for surfing contests. So that's why I spent extensively. So I've had 75 trips to Australia. And of course, I've had 25 trips to Fiji, and I know that's distant from me in Japan and other parts of the world. So I'm a world traveler. I know it's a beautiful place, Maureen. I've seen valleys and the way the people's walks of life and stuff, and the Maoris are beautiful people too. I met so many of them in my travels. So um, all the New Zealand people that I've met have been nice to me, and I enjoyed it. It's either been through surfing or rugby. But you're the first I met in CPS, and it's sad that we all have this problem where we lose our children um, because of the corruptness of social workers. And um, when you have a child, you try to do your best, and we all make mistakes. But lately, it's been nothing but false allegations. See, we have lay people that can call in on a phone number, and the child protection system believes that there is something wrong with the child, and in 24 hours they'll investigate. But they've learned about the money thing because in the United States, it's $1 trillion business, trillions of dollars. Let me see what else Maureen says here. Okay, you'd asked the organization to help me with my 2 adolescent children. Okay, I turned messy, and I'm going to call it CPS accused me of mental health. That is a typical MO in the United States. They always call parents they're mentally unhealthy. I had one lady in West Hollywood, California, that was arrested, and for 72 hours she had to go through this hospital because they said she was crazy. She found out she wasn't crazy. Her children, meanwhile, were taken by the police and taken from her hand and put into foster care, and she didn't have the money to fight or get an attorney. And that's the same thing. A lawyer is so important there. Um, Okay. So you know about the Maori lifestyle. So yeah, that's great. I'm glad to meet you. There's a lot of bad families in Maoris. I mean, I hate to say it. I saw a series in New Zealand about the Maoris and about how abusive they were with each other. And a lot of it does with the alcohol and so forth, but it's also I don't know if you call your police constables, but they have a tendency to overreact and really tear families apart. Wow, you have Scotland. Well, my many great great grandmothers is Queen Mary Stuart of Scotland. I went to my home, Edinburgh Castle, and the beef eaters chased me out of the castle. I said, but that's my great, 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 many great grandmother, Queen Mary Stuart of Scotland. Anyway, I have some mixed blood too. So I'm also Lakota Sioux. I may not look it, but I'm part Lakota Sioux. That's the North American Plains Indian from my reservation is a Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. Hi, Brad. Welcome. Brad from DeHazo. Same deal. I lost my kids. I've not seen them in 10 months. I thought it was a right to see my children, not a privilege. It is a right, Brad, but I have to know more of the details to help you out. And I thank you very much, Christina Renzo, for the emojis, and Violet Sparkles for the emojis. And that's really great. Um, Brad, um, I agree. I don't know where you're from, Brad. There's some of you in the room that not told me. We have Maureen from Auckland, New Zealand, who's part Maori, part Scottish, part French. And then we have Christina Renoza, who's been on my show many times. I've known her for a long time. And she's asking about a case that's 40 years old, which is a long time. And so I really want to help you people. I'm running short of time right now. I have about 4 minutes left of my show time because at 9 o'clock, and it's already 9 o'clock, but I started a couple minutes late, so I'm going to go the full hour here, so I won't shortchange anybody. Butte, Montana. Oh, okay. I know where Butte, Montana is. Beautiful area up there, Brad. And I'm sorry that your children were taken from you. They are very unscrupulous. I hate to tell you that, as I say, the people that come to my podcast, and over 600 of you from around the world and from the United States, have told me horror stories of where they take children. I mean, I was there too. I've been fighting them for 15 years. I hired an attorney, and in 3 years, I got my 2 boys back, but lost my daughter. And that was the sad part about everything. I mean, I lost my home. I had to sell my home to get a lawyer. That's something I worked for 45 years to get my home. You know, I'm 80, I'm 75 now, forever young dinosaur. And I really want to help people because of my case and try to help you. Brad further says the foster parents punish my kids for calling my wife and I mom and dad. That's wrong. You know, they do alienation. Foster parents are good about doing alienation. What I mean by alienation, they try to alienate the children from the parents. That's against the law. That's against the law. And you do not ever, I mean, my children, when they're in foster care and they're in a group home, they were taught not to hug the parents, keep your hands to your side when you see your parents. And it was terrible because they try to do unscrupulous things. Luckily, my 2 boys are back. They've been through a lot because of child protection services. They've had emotional trauma. They've had, I mean, my family, they were normal children. The only thing that was my case was I lost my job after working for 40, I've been working for 45 years. And I lost my job when I turned age 60 through no fault of my own. And I was struggling because I had a very expensive home with high mortgage payments because I live close to the beach. And in California, when you live close to the beach, you pay outrageous prices for homes. And I love the beach. I mean, I'm married to the ocean. I always tease people that my gills will dry up if I don't go in the water. I love sports. I played football and rugby, and very outgoing kind of man here. But anyway, we're getting close to the end here. That foster care parents should not done what they said that they're doing. One of the CPS workers got pulled over drunk with her kid and got child endangerment, and she got a raise. Yes, they do that in Kentucky. My regular thing, Brad, Faye will tell you that they do slap on the hand. They keep their job. There's so much corruptness. It's unbelievable. And yes, they will brainwash your children, Brad. I agree with you that. Maureen further says the New Zealand government agency uh, agency OT are trying to hide the fact my children need counseling and that abuse by the care was being hidden in the court documents. Yes, when your children are in foster care, they are abused. There's no question about that. Further, Maureen says, yeah, I agree. What the hell? Yeah. Anyway, I've now reached my time. I hate I have to leave you guys, but please come back to my show. I'm on again at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I love to have you all. Thank you, Brat from Butte, Montana. Thank you, Maureen from Auckland, New Zealand. It's a pleasure, and I really want to help you all. So save your questions. Ask me again tonight or tomorrow. I'm on 14 times a week, so you can't miss me. Christina Reynosa, I do want to get an answer for that question. And I want you to talk to Mr. Davis, my attorney. He is available to talk to. He has a 15-minute consultation for free if you be a guest on my podcast or call in. And I think I've covered everybody that has called into the podcast. So thank you all. This is Bob Pace telling you to keep fighting for your kids. My attorney will speak at the end of my podcast. God bless you. And until I see you again, keep fighting for your kids.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.